they can sniff it out so quick, if you're not confident in what you're doing.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Champion School. My name's Ray Mack. That is BZB. Today, I'm going to try not to scream into the mic. I think that was a major issue with the last one. My fault. So sorry about your ears. But today, Ryan O'Hearn. He is a left-handed power bat, a dude for the Royals. Awesome guy. The guy crushed the interview. Hilarious guy and a dude I'd want to hang out with, to be honest.
Yeah,
but super fun dude. Anyways, how you doing, BZB?
Doing good, Ray. I'm thinking we need to invite him out to our first Project Sandlot meetup at TPC Scottsdale here before spring training starts. So that's going to have to happen. But doing good this morning, man. Good things moving forward. I think the key in the next couple of weeks is like originally it was like, hey, let's take a little breather and let's chill for a sec. And there is no chill right now. It's like full on, full board, like one thing to another. So just trying to remain kind of just staying patient through everything, which is good. So a lot of good things moving forward.
That's right. We're chipping away. Winter's upon us. We have the POBs are going to be dropping here in like 2 weeks. So if you have not checked that out, make sure you go to projectsandlot.com. It's officially up. And there's a lot of information on what we're doing with the project as well as what the project is itself. So anybody new to NFTs, there's a lot of great helpful information on there, and it'll really help you kind of get directed towards what we're doing. Again, the big primary thing is we're just trying to raise money for a bunch of underprivileged kids in some areas that just aren't really well off. And we get a chance to bring camps and events and sponsor kids, like tons of great stuff that we're all super fired up about. So anyways, check that out, and let's get into the good news of the week.
The good news of the week. I get to kick off the good news of the week this week, and I'm super excited about it. We got Ray Mack with the robot dance moves. Maybe this is going to be the new intro to the show. But the good news of the week, something I found this morning, really, really cool, creative, innovative idea, and I love innovation. And so this young woman, I believe she's got to be, so she graduated George Washington in 2019. So I believe she's got to be at least 23, 24, maybe. So super young woman, entrepreneur. And she developed this company called Virtual or Viva Vita. Viva Vita is what it's called. I knew there was a couple of V's. So Viva Vita, her name's Carly Berryman. And so the whole concept behind this deal that she has, this business, is virtual reality for seniors. And she started in 2019, right before COVID hit, because a lot of seniors were dealing with isolation. And I didn't know this, but over 18% of seniors account for all of the suicides in the world.
Yeah,
I had no clue. Dude, no idea with seniors. And so I started to think about it, and she mentioned something in the video. It all started with her grandma, who was feeling isolated in the retirement home. And she's like, they went on some trips, and her grandma made a couple comments like, yeah, I just don't really feel motivated because I have nothing to work for. I just get up and I know I have nothing for the day. And so she made this company where she has the virtual reality headsets using the VR technology to where they can lock into any place in the world. And so what she does is she'll go to the retirement homes and to all these different in-care hospice and all those types of things. And she'll give the recipients a headset, right? The Viva Vita headset, and they can go anywhere. So a lot of them are like, the first time I've ever seen the Eiffel Tower, or going to Spain. There's one in France, like anywhere in the world. And she just programs it into the headset, and they can take a virtual trip. And what it tells us is, what she was telling was, psychologically, it starts to trick our brain to think that we actually took that trip. So they think they're in a vacation, even though they're still in the same retirement home. And so one of the guys on there was like, dude, it's amazing to see a 103-year-old woman taking the trip to see the Eiffel Tower for the first time virtually. And so what a great good news of the week, because right now with COVID, that's been a big issue with the retirement homes and with a lot of the elderly, that they're just isolated because of the high risk. So having something that they can use to kind of just distract their mind and be able to go somewhere else and kind of take a visualization trip, if you say, outside of where they're normally at, was so cool. So Carly Berryman, shout out to you. Viva Vida. We got it. It's amazing. I think the VR is really cool what it's doing, and to see somebody get creative with it and use it to help so many other people who need some help. I mean, that was just so cool. So good news of the week. Shout out Carly.
Dude, there's so many different things that you're going to be able to do with the VR. Like, and this is just an early takeoff here, but like, you've seen the videos of people jumping through their TVs, right? Like, legit, because the brain goes like, I am 1,000 feet in the air right now, like I need to get to the ground, and they panic. And so, like, to be able to use that same thing for putting them on a beach in Miami, or like you said, the Eiffel Tower, the pyramids, like anything like that is just insane. And your brain just doesn't know, right? Like, it doesn't know the difference. Same thing with when we really visualize, like, same thing. If we can experience that in our minds and see it, like, we're gonna feel that emotion too. So super cool, dude. Shout out to Carly. I love it. Thanks for doing the good news of the week this week. I was unprepared. So
no, it fired me. I was actually really excited listening to the video. So I love young entrepreneurs, and I love people who did kind of just go against the grain, and she stepped out of her comfort zone. She did something because it was from her family too, which was pretty cool for both of us, and seeing how it's helping a lot of people, man, especially when that's a big topic right now. So shout out to Carly, man. That was really cool.
That goes for this too. If any of you guys listening have somebody in your area that is doing something good for the community, you yourself are, anything that would constitute as good news of the week, feel free to send it in. Like, we'll give it a shout out for sure, because we're just trying to highlight the good and bring up some of these people that are doing awesome things in their communities. So shout out to Carly again, and let's get into this week's Zen. This week's Zen. We also didn't talk about this.
I got it. I got a good one.
Oh, wow, he's on fire. 2 for 2 today.
Well, this is it's a gut check to speak to myself, so that's why I'm hot on this one right here. So yeah, he put a ring on it.
That is, brother. I saw that.
I know. I had to get a little show in there. Lexi's gonna be fired up because she's been wanting to get on the show for a long time. So maybe we get her as a guest appearance one of these days.
My goodness. Trust me, we get worn out once a week about that at least. So congratulations to your engagement that happened a month, 2 months ago.
Like 3 or 4
3 months ago. Yeah.
It's all good. No. So the Zen of the week, right? The Zen of the week today. I want to talk about gratitude a little bit, because this week I've had less gratitude and I've felt more rushed and anxious, right? So I think just getting back to developing the gratitude, getting used to writing it down or saying it out loud is very important. And then sticking with what works and not trying to fix everything all the time. So gratitude, big piece of what we do. Obviously, we talk a lot about it all the time. It's all over our social media accounts, but really just honing in on what you're thankful for every day, especially around the Christmas time and holiday time. There's so many good things here. Everybody's healthy for the most part. There's a lot of good stuff happening in our families, and just being grateful for those little moments too, whether we take a trip out to eat like last night with everybody together, which doesn't always happen. Being able to just get outside in this beautiful weather, take a hike. It's easy to think about all the wrong scenarios and all the things that we need to try and fix or the problems. And that's where it sparked for me. There was just a bunch of outside issues, external issues that were just kind of popping up with each one of our avenues. And it was just wearing me down. Like, man, I just don't want to do this. I'm over it. And then when that happens, we just get dampened, right? And we just stop. We kind of get stopped in our tracks for a sec. So getting back to thinking about what we're grateful for just sparks so many good emotions within our body and our mind. And psychologically, it sends off those endorphins that make us feel good, which is very powerful for us to continue to keep pursuing those things that we want to pursue in our lives. So getting back to the gratitude piece, making sure that every day, hey, just at least thinking about what you're thankful for, what the good is in your life, and remembering all the good things that are coming your way, because there is a lot of good through some of the bad. And that's where we can really take that next step forward in our lives to have that greater perspective. So a little bit of gratitude attitude today, baby. It was a gut check, and I had to throw it in there. So I'm glad we didn't talk about it, but we got it lined up.
Well, yeah, and the big thing is too, like we talk about, our brain is old. It's geared towards fight or flight, and for the most part, that means, hey, what am I missing? Like, what do I need in my life? And versus the harder way to think about, or the difficult way of, hey, I have this and this and this and this, and if you can train your brain into thinking about all the good things you have, you start missing all the things you're not, you don't have. So yeah, what you see is what you get. Focus on the good things. Anyways, we're getting into probably my favorite interview of the last 2 months. How about that?
Yeah,
Ryan O'Hearn, not O'Hearn. I botched it again. But yes, he jumps on again, power hitting left-handed hitter for the Kansas City Royals, and a heck of a human being, man. Like was he from Florida or from Texas?
I believe Texas.
So he's out in Texas, and he was learning. And he played some real good college ball at Sam Houston State, a team that knocked us out of the super regionals or regionals out there in Texas Tech, Lubbock. But really cool story. Stand-up human being, and a guy that you want on your team for sure. So without further ado, Ryan O'Hearn.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Champion School podcast. I'm Austin Byler. We got Ray Mack and a very special guest today, Ryan O'Hearn, Kansas City Royals, first base, a little bit of outfield. The dude hits tanks. Off the air, I was sharing a story with him. We were playing him in Instructs one of the falls, and we get to the field at the Royals complex, and we're kind of going in, and we knew the Royals had good prospects, and it's like the first at bat of the game or something like that. And this dude just goes like 450 tater tots, like right center bomb. So Ryan, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. We're pumped to have you. Just kind of fill us in, man. Backstory, kind of getting into baseball and getting through college and professional baseball. Kind of fill us in on your story, man, and kind of where this journey's taking you.
Yeah, I think, it started, as a kid. My older brother played, and I grew up in Florida. And then my freshman year of high school, we had a job change, and my family moved out here to Dallas. And that's, kind of how, when it got serious for me, I think, Texas high school baseball was something that I hadn't really seen before. It was pretty impressive. It was, the fourth period of the day or whatever, you go out, you have baseball class, and, I learned how to lift weights and, things like that. And I think by my senior year, I was still probably like I was as tall as I am now. I was probably 6'2", 6'3", but I was like 150 pounds. And I knew I was going to go play. I had a couple offers here and there, but Sam Houston was the right fit. It was, they told me I was going to play as a freshman, and I was going to get opportunities to be in there. And then I went out and had a really good senior year. I think my senior year, I hit 505. I think,
not bad.
Yeah, and I had like the most homers, in the area or whatever, and then ended up being an All-American my senior year of high school. 3 good years of Sam Houston. We had, for a mid-major, we had really good teams every year. We were in a regional every year. And I, got to play every day for 3 years. And then Royals drafted me in the 8th round. And, things just kind of rolled from there. You get that confidence, you grow up. I was a late bloomer, so I think I probably wasn't even a fully grown man until I was in AA or something at that point. I think I just continually got better, and then it all happens quick. There's no secret to it, man. I just enjoyed playing the game, and it's just got a little bit better every year. And then here we are. It's been what? I got drafted in 2014. So it's been 8 years.
Wow, 8 years.
Yeah, flies by.
What have you learned in those 8 years? Because being in the locker room, man. Dude, you've got so many good dudes in that organization. But fill us in, man. What are some of the things that you've learned, even just life wise, that you can take into your own personal life?
Yeah, that's a broad question. That's a tough question. I learned so much from so many different people. Just the benefit of just being teammates with people from all walks of life, and you got how many different languages that I've gotten to play with, over the years, and just different personalities, different people. I was really lucky because I got to see that wave ahead of me. You know, I got to see the Hosbers and the Moose and, you know, Locane and all those guys, and just kind of see how they go about it and how they had fun with it. But, you know, those guys got after it. They did their work, and, you know, they knew what it took to win, and, you know, the list goes on. So I think just the benefit, I've learned so many different lessons, but just the benefit of being around true professionals and, you know, world-class players. I mean, being around, you know, I still get to play with Salvi, but seeing Salvi is, you know, my first major league camp, and walking in the building and being like, oh, okay, this is what it takes. This is, now granted, he's a Hall of Famer, but it was just a good example of what I needed to do. And, you know, the Royals were always really good with that, developing guys. And, you know, it wasn't just because you're a first round pick or whatever, you know, that wasn't, you know, obviously they like the first round picks, but it wasn't like I was treated any differently, and I got opportunities to play, and I played well. And, you know, it's amazing how much you grow just being around good players over the years.
Love that. Just that mentorship, man. I could see with you guys, obviously Salvi and Locane and some of those guys, man. And
Gordo, I don't want to
watching
leave
them.
Gordo out. Gordo was huge for me.
Dude, and what a sweet swing. That lefty stroke. I mean, so smooth.
Yeah.
Can't ask for anything better.
No, amazing. Ray, I'll kick it off to you.
Yeah. Did you play for Coach Deggs when you're down there?
No, I missed Deggs by 1 year. So I played at Sam Houston for 3 years with Coach Pierce, David Pierce.
Yeah.
Who was the coach at University of Texas, and in that group. And I still keep in touch with those guys a lot, man. Coach Pierce did a lot for me at Sam Houston, because he wasn't always nice. You know what I mean? He'd give it to you straight, and he definitely let me have it over the years. But you know, I definitely was better for it.
Where were your guys' regionals?
My first year, we played in the Rice Regional, so that was 2012, and we lost to Arkansas. And then my sophomore year went to LSU Regional, which was pretty wild. And that was at the time, it was like I think we won the first game against Louisiana Lafayette. So we were the 3 seed. So we won the first game, and then we played that like Friday night or Saturday night matchup against the LSU. And at the time, it was a school record for a crowd. So it was like 14 people. I was playing shaking out there, you know. And I think Aaron Nola started the game for them. Bregman was playing short. Jacoby Jones was playing center. They had a lot of guys on that team that ended up are still playing and played for a long time. A lot of good players.
There's a bunch of no names out there.
Yeah, versus the Bearcats, baby. And you know what? We ended up taking I think we had like a 6-run lead, and we put up like 4 or 5 in the first inning, tacked one on, and then they came back in like the 7th inning. And it was a big error, and, you know, just shit went crazy, but we had a real shot at it for a minute. And then my junior year was even more interesting. My junior year was the TCU regional, and we went 22 innings against TCU and lost. It was like the second longest NCAA baseball game. I don't know. You have to check the record books or whatever, but we played 22 innings against those guys. Finnegan pitched. Who else? There were some guys on that team too. For TCU. Cody Jones played center field. I don't remember Cody Jones.
Jeez.
Cody Jones played center field for TCU, and then ended up playing with the Royals for a little while. But yeah, those were 3 years. We never made it past the regional. We made to regional final twice, and one of them ended up losing it in 22 freaking innings, man. It's crazy.
That's tough.
That's rough.
We were at Arizona. Or I was at Arizona actually. So we played Sam Houston. We took 2 from them to go to win the Louisiana regional, and then we had another one where they knocked us out in Texas Tech the following year, I believe.
Yeah. They celebrate that year so much still, because it's the first time the team's ever been to supers. So I was there. I was at Sam Houston a couple of weeks ago for an alumni event, and that's all over the walls in there that year that they beat you guys.
Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, those teams are nasty, man. Like, and people don't understand how many good teams are in Texas.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I bet Sam Houston's always had a pretty good program, and then I think literally from when I got there until now, they've been pretty dominant. So obviously you get a mid-major school like that going up against Arizona and all these big time schools, and holding their own, which was cool to watch. afterwards. But yeah. So what year were you at Arizona?
I was there 16, 17, 18. Okay. So we got in, it was just wild circumstance. Obviously Jay gets there and does a great job. And we roll into the World Series that first year on a miracle run, basically. But, you know, I had never even been out east of the Mississippi, I guess, to put it lightly. So that whole ride was just insane.
Didn't that team just absolutely break? If I remember correctly, like that team had like stupid offensive numbers.
We had two dudes that had over 100 knocks. Like, I think the team batting average was like 390. Like, it was ridiculous.
Jeez.
Wow, 390. Come on.
It was ridiculous, dude.
That's fun.
That's insane. Well, take us through, and take us through since we're on the topic of college, man. I think for both of us, Ray and I, we had some really good experiences in college, both playing and then for him coaching. And I think it's such an awesome time and a great opportunity for a lot of athletes, especially those who haven't yet developed, right? And we're kind of late bloomers, but take us through the college experience, man. And just really some of maybe the key things that you've learned through college, or even just for a high school athlete out there that's looking to find their right fit, right? And understanding what is the right fit for me as an athlete wise. What's your best advice, maybe some of those high school kids looking for their right fit, right? And that destiny that can help them get to the professional level one day.
Yeah. I mean, I think the right fit can vary from guy to guy. I think for me, I knew personally that I wanted to play. You know, I had heard stories of guys older than me that, you know, they go to the Big 12 school or they go to wherever, and then, you know, they're not playing much, and then they get cut or they got to transfer and they're in junior college and there's nothing wrong with junior college, but I decided that, hey, I want to go. You know, I had a chance to go some other places, but I wanted to go to Sam Houston because I thought I was going to get a chance to play. The guy, you know, the assistant coaches were pretty clear with me that, like, hey, we need, you know, first of all, it was a new coach. There's a new group of guys coming in, and it was like, hey, we're going to need you to make an impact and play. And so that was huge for me. And then, you know, I was blessed, man. Coach Pierce was obviously a world-class coach. The guy's, you know, stuck at University of Texas, and he's got connections like crazy. And he was just the kind of guy that took me as a freshman, and he was like, hey, look, like, I don't care how many times you screw up, like, you're going to be our first baseman. You're going to play every day. And just giving me the ability to fail and knowing that it wasn't going to really affect anything. Like, obviously you got to play well, but I mean, I felt like I had long enough of a leash that I could breathe, and I was comfortable, and I was getting better and kind of, you know, getting stronger and all those things. And I had some success early on. And I think, you know, you just gain that confidence and especially in college, you know, you guys know it's about winning. That's what it was. At college baseball, they could give a shit about, you know, it wasn't so much about personal achievement as it was as a team winning. And that was really hammered into us. And I think that mentality helped me big time, because I didn't feel like I had to do it all, or I had to have the same, you know, ridiculous numbers that I had in high school or whatever, because that wasn't possible. And, you know, at the end of it, when everything all shook out, it was like the numbers are there. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, you know, that was the most fun I ever had playing baseball. Loved my teammates. We won. You know, I know it was just like I found like an avenue to or a mindset that would work for me. But I think, yeah, definitely, if you're a young guy, you're a high school guy, my advice, we go somewhere you can play. And if you're one of those, you know, I'm in the gym with some of these kids that are high school kids, they're freaks. You know, if you're going to go and be a dude at an SEC school, and do it. But if you look yourself in the mirror and it's like, hey, I could go there, but maybe I could go to this other school and play more. And then, you know, things click and you're rolling. And next thing you know, you're the best player in the conference. And then, you know, holy shit, I'm a second rounder. You know what it is, whatever it is. I think that it's been pretty proven that you don't have to be in the SEC to make it to the big leagues. If you have the talent, you have the drive, and you get better, you'll get there. But that would probably be my number one piece of advice. Go somewhere you can play, you know.
And that was massive
going into it. Yeah. Because especially when you're at that age, you know, I had buddies going to bigger schools, and it's a lot cooler to say you're going to somewhere else. But, you know, when it's all said and done, it's a lot cooler to play.
Yeah. And nobody you get the experience about the gear. Yeah. Exactly. Hey, the gear is kind of dope though. The gear is kind of dope.
My freshman year, we had like the most basic T-shirts and the most bad. It was bad, and it was like, you boys got to earn the gear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coach Pierce, those guys are grinders though. Like, you know, a Sam Houston team isn't going to be a bunch of like prissy kids. Like those dudes want to go win, you know?
Those are all kids from South Texas that want to go win, and that's all they know. Those guys are. I mean, I still have some really good friends from Sam Houston, really good players there too. And people are surprised that, you know, they don't recruit nationally or anything, but like the amount of talent in that Houston area, Dallas area was pretty ridiculous.
Did you, so like entering your pro career, did you still have, like, obviously you have some swagger to you, you're a confident guy, but like, did you have that at all times when you were, you know, entering pro ball, or is that something you had to build up just like college?
No, absolutely not. I don't think, I think, no, I think you got to, you know, pay your dues, man. You got to fail sometimes. You got to learn how to get over that. And I think the confidence and the swagger comes with believing in yourself. Yes. But where does that come from? Like you gotta be able to prove it in the cage and prove it, you know, in practice. And then you get a taste of the success and the good life from having results on the field. And then it all just kind of snowballs. I don't think I ever showed up anywhere and was just like, I'm the man, like, you know, it's going to be easy. But I think it just comes with, you know, yes, you have to believe in your ability, but it also comes with the work associated.
That's good. I like that piece too. And just like kind of the routines that you build, you know, coming in and humble, hungry, you know, how important are routines? We work with a lot of athletes in predominantly high school, college, and we help them with the mental side, right? A lot of mental training, a lot of leadership development, team building, culture, and all that. And some of the things we talk about is like routines and breathing and just slowing the game down and being present, and a lot of stuff that you might hear, but as a high school, college athlete, sometimes you're like, whoa. Like, I just need, like, give me the weighted ball, give me the launch angle, give me the exit velo. I don't need this stuff, right? But for you, and now seeing it through high level college, right? You got to play in multiple regionals. Then you're in professional baseball, obviously, with a really good organization. How important are some of those routines building into your daily regimen, maybe as an athlete, especially just keeping you consistent on the field?
Yeah, that's probably the main key is consistency. Is, you know, go out and have those consistent at bats every day. And, you know, play defense consistently. Be somebody that they can trust out there. And you know, for me, I think the routine has been massive. It's, you know, having, first of all, establishing a routine that works for you, that you're comfortable with, that you believe in, that gets you right. You know what I'm saying? And then go out there and being like, okay, I'm prepared. I did my routine, and now it's ready to, you know, it's time to go let it fly. I think, you know, hitting wise, I know for a fact, like I've heard some guys be able to, I can't go into a game, you know, naked without doing anything. That's the term, for the game naked. But like, you got to, like, yeah, definitely have that routine in the cage, you know, get your swing right, have those couple balls that you feel like you're at the right effort level and it's doing the right thing in the cage, and then it kind of translates on the field. And even that, especially at the major league level, that doesn't guarantee success, but it's just something that you can always fall back on, kind of, you know, make sure, you know, I feel the same I did yesterday, or, you know, I'm hitting this pitch the right way, or I did my curveball machine today, or I did, you know, whatever it is that correlates whatever you're working with on the time or working towards at the time. I think that just builds a confidence going into the game. And like I said, you know, that confidence is everything. They can sniff it out so quick, you know, if you're not confident in what you're doing.
Yeah, you can see it in the body language too, and I'm sure you as a hitter, right? We're hungry when we see a pitcher looking out there dragging his blanket. It's like, dude, I got you. You're screwed.
Sure. And on the flip side, I felt, you know, on the bad side of that too, and it's a feeling. It's like
you got a wet newspaper in the back of the box.
Needs to find intervention on this at bat right here.
Yeah, just somehow make some contact.
Yeah.
Take us through your approach at the plate. There's a lot of young hitters that'll listen to this, and there's a lot of coaches that are going to give this to their hitters. And I think a missing ingredient to a lot of people's success is having some sort of approach. You said, hey, don't go into the game naked. Like, have some sort of a plan or routine that gets you prepped to get in there with confidence, whatever it is for you. But for you, left-handed hitter, obviously you hit for some juice. What's your approach? Like, what are you looking to do at the plate? What kind of pitch are you looking for? What location? Does it change per at bat? Like, kind of walk us through some of those game day routines there at the plate.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's changed, you know, quite a bit as the years have gone on. And for me now, it really depends on the at bat. It depends on who's pitching. You know, it just has a lot of variables. But like I think like a rule of thumb, like a pretty normal right-handed pitcher that I would face, you know, you gotta. Everyone says stay on the fastball, which yeah, that's a thing because that's the fastest speed, right? That's the fastest pitch that you're going to have to time up, and I think that's important. But I think you have to be disciplined enough to look for the fastball, right? Or look for the hardest pitch he throws in a certain area and then be free enough to be able to land and adjust to a mistake. Right. So like you get your, yeah, that's my little wiener dog.
Oh, my fiance would be jealous.
But yeah, so I think, you know, having the ability to be on the fastball, but not just so locked in on the fastball that if you see a wrinkle or you see a changeup or you see anything else, you automatically shut it down, right? So you're looking for a location. For me, it's always been, my strengths have always been, you know, probably like thigh high and then kind of away from me. I like the ball middle away, especially a fastball. So I'm looking for a heater middle away. This is just like an average, like a stock. I'm starting the game against a right-handed pitcher, whatever. And then I'll figure out what his best second pitch is. So if it's a slider, then I'm, you know, yeah, I'm on the fastball, but I'm looking for that ball that jumps out of his hand that's coming back, the slider. And it's a fine line because it's having the ability to take a quality swing and an aggressive, dangerous swing on the fastball, but also be free enough to keep your hands back and, you know, sit on your backside long enough when he does make that mistake with the slider that backs up, you're in a good position to hammer it. And you're free enough mentally to get after it. And it's that 80%, 90% swing. I mean, nobody, for the most part, you're not going to have success swinging out of your ass, you know, especially unless you're just lucky, you know. But I mean, for the most part, to be consistent, I think it's being on the fastball, but being free enough to look for that secondary pitch that's a mistake. And along with that, it's a lot deeper than that. That's pretty generic, but like, you know, I'll look at percentages. If a guy flips a 0-0 breaking ball in a certain amount of time to a left-handed hitter like me, then shit, I might go look for that, you know? Or I might go see what he does 0-2, 1-2, what he likes. Most guys are the same. You know, if heater's up and then back foot slider, change up away. So it's really you're time in the fastball, but you're free enough to get after that mistake and then staying in the middle part of the field. That's really it. Because you're going to catch a ball out front trying to hit the center field and it'll be a homer to right. You know, I've never had any success trying to pull the ball. It's usually a rollover, even if it's a you know 112 into the shift, it's an out. Like it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, you're cutting your window too. It's like your window for success becomes out front and in this tiny area. Excuse me. Versus, like you said, having the adjustability. What are some things that you've done drills wise that have helped you with that adjustability?
Yeah, well, I've really had to learn. Our one of our hitting coaches is John Mabry, and he's awesome, man. He's just a stud, and he explains it really well. And I've kind of leaned on him over the last couple of years, but I had to really learn how to use my backside, how to hold my backside, because I was a guy that kind of would like leg kick, jump off my backside, and then my hands would kind of tuck down here, and I would hit for juice to left field because I'd be late on a heater, but I was strong enough that the ball would carry. And then I get a off-speed pitch. That was a good pitch to hit. And I'm off my backside, but it'd be like you're that late emergency hook swing and, you know, you'd be able to hit singles to right field. But that doesn't play anymore because the shift is there. So I had to understand how to hold my backside and really use your front side too. Like, you know, you'll be able to turn against your front side, not roll out of your front side. Because if you can hold your backside, land, and then you're still fooled, but you hold your front side well enough, you could turn against it and still juice balls. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
Perfect.
It took me a while to understand what I just said, but some drills, I definitely did a lot of like step back drills. Like I wouldn't load or anything. I would just like get ready, like I'm landed, ready to hit, and then they'd flip me a ball or overhand a ball or whatever, and then I'd go from there, and instead of turning my backside, I would kind of jump back off my backside to understand how to stay in line, right? Like keep my body rotating around my front leg and not bailing out. So that was a big one for me. And then just mixing up, make cage work hard. You can make it as easy as you want or as hard as you want, but make it challenging. Get a guy that's going to throw overhand short close to you, mix in the breaking ball when you don't want it. Get your mind involved in your cage work. Like, what are you trying to do here? I think that's one thing that changed for me is I used to just sit up there and hit, 300 balls a day. And then it would be like, I think that felt good, instead of like understanding that, taking pitches and being able to vary your timing and swing, oh, it's a breaking ball, but it's a hanger. I'm still going to get that one. Just little things like that make that cage work harder than it is.
Yeah, I was a guy that always liked going into the cage and just ripping 400-foot nukes off a flip. So.
I mean, there's definitely a time for that. There's definitely a time for that. I think, they got to have you feel good days every now and then, but probably go 50-50 on that.
Yeah, a little more velo machine to make it a little more uncomfortable.
There you go.
That velo machine, man. Ryan, I'm gonna kind of shift gears here, and then we'll wrap up into the game that we got here in a minute. But you've been a huge proponent on the mental game and just kind of getting your mind involved. I love the fact of the cage work, getting your mind engaged, and just not just going through the motions and feel good all the time. What are one, I guess, how important is the mental side of the game now? The further you've moved up the ranks, and obviously going through the minor leagues and into the majors. Like what kind of role does that play for you in your development? And then for any listeners out there, coach or player wise, what are some things that maybe they can do or practice regularly to help their mental game sharpen a little bit, maybe build confidence or just build more belief within themselves? What are maybe some things that you might be doing or that you've even seen at the big league level?
Yeah, I think, I've had an interesting perspective the last couple of years in the big leagues because I've had different roles. I had in 18-19, a large part of 2020, I was a starter. So I was playing every day. So there's definitely a grind to that. And there's a mental side to that. Just knowing you're in there every day and even if your body doesn't feel good, that doesn't really matter. You have to figure out how to get over that grind because 162 games is no joke. And I've seen it, firsthand, guys who have done it a lot longer than I, got to hopefully I get to play every day again in the future at some point. But I think I've seen, Whit Merrifield do it for however many years and, Salvi and we can talk about these guys and they're just the same guy every day. And it's the face they put on, the tenacity when they get into the clubhouse and it's all about that 7:15. That's it. And it's whatever you got to do to get ready to go 7:15. And it's been impressive to see, some of the injuries and the bumps and bruises and the slumps and the things that you go through over the course of a season like that. It's unpredictable. And, the season is never going to be as pretty as you pictured it in your mind. That's just a reality. So it's how can you react to the adversity and the downfall, when things aren't going your way. So I got to play every day for a while. And, that was an unbelievable opportunity. And it was awesome because you can afford to, relax a little bit. But at the same time, it's like you have to get yourself to play every day, ready to play every day at your highest level. And so that's probably the main mental challenge. Now, ways to, counteract that. I mean, I just feel like that's one of those things, like there's no trick. It's just a gut check. It's like every day you wake up, if you don't want to do it, or it doesn't, it's not as easy as it was yesterday, or, Verlander's on the mound or whatever the case may be. Like you just have to find a mental way within you, rely on your routines, rely on your teammates, your coaches, whatever, but you have to just figure out a way to just sack up and get it done. That's really all it is. Now, the mental side of my role more recently, which has, kind of been like utility guy, play a few times a week, but then when you're not playing, it's, it's a pinch hit in the ninth against the closer. That's a different mental grind because today might feel like a failure because you went 0 for 1, but realistically that's one at bat. So you got to take that in stride and kind of realize that. And plus you got to understand that you're facing what the rest of the league is hitting, $110 off of. You're facing those monsters in the back end of the bullpen. So you basically find success in different ways. A quality at bat you might get out on is still a good at bat against Clase or whoever, so there's that. And I think, like I said, man, I'm a proponent of the mental game because you have to be, because if you aren't showing up and giving your best and you're not in the box with that, this is a fist fight mentality, then this game will just sneak up on you so quick. It's like, oh wait, what happened? Day's over. I went over, or I did, or whatever happened. Just don't take anything for granted, any opportunity to play for granted. Anytime you get a chance to hit, I don't care if you haven't played in 9 days, and whoever's pitching, you get up there and it's the fist fight and you grind it out. And that's what it is. So, I mean, I think I've definitely had to take on different challenges mentally based off of what my role has been. But like I said, I don't think that there's one specific trick or key. I think it's believe in what you're doing. That includes your routine, your scouting report, what the hitting coach says before the game. And then when it's time to make it happen, you can't go out there and play timid. It's no regrets. You let it fly, and whatever happens, that's what happened.
So good. The competing part, just sacking up and getting ready to go. I think like at the end of the day,
the best pitchers in the world. So, I mean, it's a fist fight in there.
Yep. And you hit it perfect. Sorry, Ray. I'm going to kick it off to you, but you hit it perfect, Ryan, when you say, if you don't believe in yourself, if you're going up there timid, you got no chance. Like you got to find a way to dig that dog out of you and get up there and be the best that you can be in that moment, regardless of how you feel.
And that can be true at every level, That can be true at every level. Obviously it gets harder as you go up, but that's true at every level. It doesn't matter. The game is not easy. You're never going to go up there. At least I've never gone up there and just been like, oh, this is an easy at bat. But you still got to hit the ball. You still got to make it happen.
Yeah. Those pinch hits late in the game are like the toughest thing to do in sports in general.
Oh,
but rough. I did see you turn around a Hunter Strickland fastball and hit it about 500 feet. So, we're just going to put that out there. We're going to get into a quick game. We didn't really prep you on it, but it's pretty low key. Your boy Zuber did a good job with it, so hopefully you do too. It's called On It or Off It. We're going to give you a list of 10 things. You're going to tell us you're on it, what you're about, or you're off it. It's not really something you enjoy, and one sentence as to why.
Okay.
All right, number 1, poker.
Is there a middle?
Yeah, you can take the middle.
I'm gonna go middle ground. If boys are playing poker, I'll play poker, but I'm not gonna go looking for it.
Yeah, I feel that. Fishing.
Oh, I'm off fishing. All my friends like fishing and all that, and I got no patience for it.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, I love spaghetti.
Building gingerbread houses.
I'm on that. Yeah, I'll probably make that happen in the next couple of days.
Very nice. Squid Game.
On it. That was a great show.
I agree.
Intense.
Snowboarding.
I would love to snowboard. I've done it a few times. I think that's going to be maybe like a post-baseball career hobby. That would be something to do a lot. I like snowboarding.
Awesome. Hey Arnold, the cartoon.
On it. Classic.
I knew you were right in that window of like, it might have passed him. I don't know. Banning the shift for a big lefty.
Yes, big time.
Make it happen, please.
I have something to say about that. Can I just get something out?
Please let it eat.
The game for right-handed hitters game right now. I hope everybody realizes that. You, as a left-handed hitter, you roll it over 99% of the time, it's an out. If you're a right-handed hitter, guys will hit 14 hoppers to a 6-hole. It's like great swing. If you're a left-handed hitter, you nut a ball 110 into the shift or up the middle. Guys standing behind second. Out. So I think, how about this? You can shift wherever you want, but be in the infield.
Okay,
I'll
give you that. Not the shallow right fielder.
Shallow right field is bullshit.
Yeah. Let me get my hook Johnny over the second baseman's head, man.
Right.
I deserve that.
Throw me a bone every now and then.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. That is a hot take I have not heard, and I don't speak with a whole lot of big lefties that are talented. I hang out with Austin, but
Yeah, no, I don't. The shift. If you're gonna shift, fine. But I think I'm a big proponent of there should be no second right fielder.
Yeah, I feel that. The Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I'm a Green Bay fan.
Yeah, Smiler's a big Cowboy
That hurts.
guy,
That hurts
so
the
I
ego.
just
Sorry, buddy.
dumping on him.
I mean, they got a good team this year. I've been a Packer fan for life, man. I was in Lambeau about 2 weeks ago with my old man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last one. Opening presents on Christmas Eve.
I'm a Christmas Day guy. I think when I was a kid, I used to be able to, my parents would let me open one on Christmas Eve and then the rest the next day.
Yep. Oh, good. Nice job, man. Good
Yeah.
job.
That's awesome.
That's a
Ryan,
great
man,
game.
oh,
Thank you.
we're gonna compare. We'll go a little side by side with you and Zuber and get you guys going. We need to get Keller on here. I got to play with him for a little bit, so maybe he's the next dude that we pop on here. But
Grip on here.
I know. Let's get it, man. But hey, we appreciate you, Ryan. We appreciate your time. We know you're busy. You got your cool off season and everything going on, man. We're proud of you and excited for you, and pulling for you going into the spring, man. And we're hoping that shift thing gets settled, man. For you and I alike, man. To be a left hand, come on.
Never know if it come out of the CBA. It could happen.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah,
man. It's
geez.
a whole nother story. It might be a whole nother podcast.
For sure.
But we
All right,
appreciate your time, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're back. Ryan, thanks again, first of all, for joining us and taking time out of your off season. You and Zub, like just jumping right up and getting into some interviews when you guys have this downtime and free time it means a lot because our community really gets a lot out of it. So thank you so much for joining us. BZB, what'd you think about the interview?
Yeah, I think for him and Zub, two of my favorite ones here throughout this whole time we've been doing it. Just great personalities and awesome people. I really enjoyed the fact of when you started to dive into the mental game piece, like being a proponent of it, not only just a proponent, but then knowing that you just got to find a way to net up and get the job done. I mean, it just comes down to that heart and that belief within yourself. And we talked about the confidence piece with them a little bit. And I think it just kind of comes over time. But he mentioned something pretty powerful, how his role changed throughout the professional baseball. And one, it's a starter, then it's a pinch hitter where you're facing the dude coming out of the mound, and that's hard, right? You're facing the guy that people are hitting less than $150 off of all season, and you're expected to get a hit, and you go 0 for 1, and you feel like it's a bad day, but in reality, you could actually have a good day going up there going 0 for 1. So just shifting your perspective a little bit was pretty cool to hear from his standpoint, and then knowing that your role changes and shifts, but your preparation doesn't change or shift, and that was really cool to see his routines, believing in his routines, and how it's always evolving. Nothing just stays the same. He's always changing and asking questions and leaning on a lot of the veteran leadership within that Royals clubhouse, which is really cool to see. What about you?
I was just thinking about it, laughing because, he's a pretty humble guy. He's not going to, dump on anybody. And big leaguers are legit. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, if you make it there, you're legit. But when I dropped the line about him hitting the nuke off Hunter Strickland, like, you could just see the smirk, like, it's kind of funny. But yeah, he's a great dude. I think the biggest thing is, like you said, realizing that your career isn't make or break on one pinch hit. And that's hard to understand from a college perspective, because you feel like, and I was the guy, right, that I didn't get a ton of playing time and a ton of starts. So like when I did get those at bats, it was late in games with it, either where the game was really on the line or it was really not on the line. And it makes it very difficult to, one, be successful, and two, go in there not thinking about, hey, if I don't get the job done, like, I won't see the field again, That's just something that a lot of guys, I would assume the same thing is at the big league level too, but you can't put that kind of pressure on yourself when you go in to execute, because then you start thinking about the failure piece, right? And the failure piece comes in. So again, embrace the moment, have as much fun as possible. I talked to another player, former player the other day, same thing. It was like, hey, if you go out and make your only goal have as much fun as possible, you're going to be successful, and it doesn't really matter what the results are. So go in, get after it. And for Mr. O'Hearn, thank you so much for joining us again, dude. Like, Hall of Famer. Anything you guys need, you, Zub, the Royals, if you guys want to hook us up with tickets sometime, we'll do that too.
Hey, nothing wrong with the little home plate tickets over there.
Home plate? That's an opening day home plate ticket. Like, talk about a 3-quarter.
Yeah, how about an ask on a podcast? Not even direct.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us. We can't thank you all so much for listening. By the way, shout out to everybody that's been dropping comments. We see you, Hoots. We see you. There's a couple others in there. We'll pull those out because I want to make sure that we're super clear about them. I know Nick Mariani is another dude that threw one down there, giving a shout out even on just one of the duck races. And the duck races are, I mean, one of our favorites. So that's going to do it for us. I'm Ray Mack. That's BZB.